Welcome. You're about to join us for something called weekly service. Now, just like it sounds, weekly service is something that we do every single week here at Church Home. Now, we do daily guided prayer every day, and every week we engage in community. So hopefully there's some people seated around a couch or a cafe or wherever you're at. Now, if you're alone, that's totally okay as well, but I do encourage you, invite some friends to come sit with you. Or if you're looking for community, please don't hesitate. Reach out on Pastor Chat, and we would love to try to get you connected to some people who are part of the Church Home community right where you live. Now, what you're about to experience is a 10-minute message around a concept from Jesus' life and how it applies to you in the week that's in front of you. At the conclusion of that 10 minutes, we're going to do a 5-minute guided prayer experience together as a church community, hopefully getting you connected to God in a way that's meaningful today and really set your week up right. So sit back, relax, enjoy weekly service.
Hey, Church Home community, I'm so excited to share this weekly service with you, and I think it's going to be an encouragement to you. It certainly was an encouragement to me, but it is not lost on me that from 2 days from today, for those who know, here in the United States of America, it is Election Day, and there is so much in the air and so much tension. I want to remind you there is ultimately one person who is in control, and I trust him with my whole heart. His name is Jesus. I want to urge you towards empathy, compassion, love, understanding. I want to thank you for doing your part in your communities, in your respective cul-de-sacs and your neighbors, loving one another, voting. I encourage you to do so and vote with conviction. But I want to remind you that people are the prize. They are not the problem. And our hope is not in the blue or the red. Our hope is ultimately in Jesus. Now, I hope that this message encourages you. I think it also can very much apply even in the middle of such a challenging context of election season. So I love you, and I really mean this. I pray that you'll feel overwhelmed with a sense of God's control and God's love for humanity. Whatever happens a couple of days from now, God is in control, always has been, always will be. Let's get to the weekly service. Thanks for watching. I've been sharing a story now for more than a month about my sister when she was a little girl, and my dad would sing to us at night our respective Jesus songs, and he would sing over my sister, Jesus, 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 what a beautiful name it is. And she was so young. I figured out real early that if you ask Dad to keep singing, you don't have to go to sleep. So the famous story in our family goes that at 3, 4, 5 years old, my sister would say to my parents, more Jesus, more Jesus. And they thought to themselves, oh, we're raising an angel. This is amazing. But what she really wanted was to stay awake. Why is that story important? Because I started to think early last month, what do we actually need more of? More stuff, more data, more information, more money, more opportunity, more wisdom, more insight, more success, more steps, more keys, more. What do we need more of? And I came to the simple conclusion, we need more Jesus. My sister was right. We actually need more of our superhero. If there is one superhero, if there's one God-man, if there's one person who changed human history as we know it, that is an actual fact. There is one transcendent person who's ever lived, who transcends all other teachers, all other prophets, all other leaders, all other kings and queens and princes and ambassadors and leaders and prime ministers. And his name is Jesus. And to me, by now I'm sure you know, I believe he's the superhero and savior of the world. So if he is who he says he is, what we need more of is him. We need more Jesus. Now, we're now in the month of November. In but a couple of days, I'll be celebrating my 25th wedding anniversary. And my marriage needs more Jesus, that's for sure. But I am so happy that we are coming up on 25 years married. I love you, my darling. And of course, last month, I caught up with her. She might be slightly older than me. I don't want to brag. I married an older woman. But we are now the same age and about to celebrate 25 years of marriage. And it has been an amazing ride. And the truth is, There is no chance in heaven or hell, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that this marriage would have worked without the wonderful ways of Jesus. He is so gracious and he is so kind. Today, I want to take us to, it's an unusual passage in that I'm not sure I have really ever heard anyone preach on it before, but it's a passage where we get more of Jesus. He becomes more understandable. He becomes more relatable in this particular passage. It was Matthew chapter 13 that helped me build these 4 weekly services in the month of October and now beginning the month of November. I really just got captured with these beautiful portraits and pictures and passages about the person of Jesus and understanding him more. By the time you get to the very end of Matthew chapter 13, there's a picture of Jesus that is incredibly familiar. And what I mean by that is I can relate, and maybe you can too. It says in Matthew chapter 13 and verse 54, when Jesus arrived in his hometown of Nazareth, he began teaching the people in the synagogue. Everyone was dazed, overwhelmed with astonishment over the depth of revelation they were hearing. They actually said this to each other, where did this man get such great wisdom and all this miraculous power? Isn't he just the craftsman's son? Isn't his mother named Mary and his 4 brothers, this is exciting, Jacob, Joseph, Simon, and Judah? I don't want to brag, but I'm in there. I'm one of the brothers of Jesus. And didn't all of his sisters live here in Nazareth? Where did he get all this revelation and power? And the people became offended and began to turn against him. And Jesus is quoted saying, there's only one place a prophet isn't honored, and that's in his hometown. And got to be one of the saddest verses about the life and ministry of Jesus. It says, their unbelief kept him from doing many. He had a lot of mighty miracles he wanted to do in Nazareth. Why do I bring this story up? Well, in an effort to get more of Jesus, this message is dedicated to the fact that Jesus was a familiar person to people and he was taken for granted. Maybe where you are in the world, you feel a little bit like that. Maybe you feel like the people that you live with, the people you're known by, or even your own family members are familiar. So familiar with you, they take you for granted. Maybe can't see your talents, your abilities, and your gifts. Maybe it's difficult for your friends and your local buddies and your high school friends and your family members to recognize the talent that God's given you, the unique person you are. You know, I've discovered this aspect of the human experience never goes away. It never goes away. Maybe you're listening to this weekly service and you're thinking, nobody takes me for granted. Well, that's a really unique season and chapter you're in. But I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or be negative Nancy or to project into your future, but it's a sure thing. There will come again a time where someone will be so familiar with you, they'll take you for granted. They'll easily overlook the extraordinary and exquisite person you are and the talents you possess. It's part of the human experience, and it's painful. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. This is a perfect sermon when you're coming up on your 25th wedding anniversary, because 25 years don't go by without some of that time taking your spouse for granted. Looking at this person, and I remember November 5th, 1999. I promise you guys, I remember it like it was not long ago, because it does not feel long ago, and that is what old people say. But I remember her dress. I remember the ceremony. I mostly remember looking in her eyes. I remember kissing her at the altar. I remember the limousine ride to the hotel. All right, Judah, we don't have to get into details, but like I do. Infatuated. Mesmerized, so preoccupied with this woman. And every day since, I have been just as preoccupied. Well, that's not true. It's not true. It wasn't even that long ago, last summer, I definitely had a week where I took her for granted. I didn't communicate. I wasn't present. I wasn't available. And it led to a really hard night of discussion, if you know what I mean. This is life. With the people we love the most, the people we live with the most, we can take each other for granted. That feeling's it's an unusual feeling because you feel less valuable. You feel like maybe my life isn't significant. Maybe it doesn't matter if I was born or not. And all these questions of self-worth, all these questions of the point of it all, the purpose of it all, why am I here? Does my name matter? Does my life matter? Does my work matter? Does my talent matter? Do my days matter? Do my years matter? Does my age matter? Do who I am matter? Does my face matter? Do my countenance, my words, my talents, my abilities, my gifts? It goes on and on and on. Where does Jesus come in? Well, it's pretty obvious to me. At the end of one of the great chapters that have spoken to me in my recent adult life, the end of this chapter is such a familiar set of circumstances. You mean to tell me the most perfect person, the only perfect person to ever walk the face of this planet, who knew no sin, committed no sin, wasn't arrogant, wasn't self-serving, wasn't a jerk, wasn't crass and crude and rude and mean and arrogant. Even he was taken for granted? Even he was a casualty of familiarity? He was. Which is to say, he knows what it feels like. Who's this message for? Well, this message is for people living in November 2024 on planet Earth who feel like maybe your life has little value. Maybe your talents are not that important. Or perhaps there was a time where you felt your talents were center stage, you were under the spotlight, and everyone seemed to be recognizing your extraordinary ability, and now you are like an animal let out to pasture, and it's as if no one cares anymore. And you feel like your glory days are over. Your peak performance is over. So what's the point of it all? And yet, I think this passage points to a very potent and powerful truth. And that is that as human beings, we suffer from familiarity, having nothing to do with the perfection of someone's performance, which is to say, sure, we've done a lot wrong, but being taken for granted, you can do everything right and still be taken for granted. You can do everything right and people can still go, bro, I've known you since middle school. Bro, who do you think you are? In Australia, I believe they call it the tall poppy syndrome, which is to say if you get too high and you get too successful, they will bring you back down to earth. I think born and raised in this country, we have a similar mentality. Oh, you think you're better than us? Oh, you think you're bigger than us? You think you mean more than us? And we want everyone to be the same, and yet no one is. Each and every one of you are unique and precious and special and exquisite to God. I don't know. I was reading this passage and I felt comfort. I felt that if Jesus was taken for granted, I will be too. And I can spend the rest of my life trying to make people not take me for granted. Make people not use familiarity to dismiss me or not recognize me or accept me or love me or celebrate me or see me. Or I can trust that Jesus, the perfect one, who suffered from the same thing from his hometown, that in fact, maybe he intends to comfort me. Maybe he intends to make up the delta in your life. You know, you ever received a greeting card from someone? You open it up and they write words of how much they love you. Come on, we've all had that moment. I don't know if greeting cards are only popular in this side of the world, but I think they're kind of universal. You ever read a card and someone expressed their feelings towards you, and you can't help but go, I didn't know I meant this much to you. I didn't know, really? Like, you changed my life. I'm so great. And you're like, around you a lot, I didn't know I meant this, because as human beings, we're fickle, we're funny, and we're busy, and life's happening, and we rarely express to each other what we really mean to each other. Now listen, like the rest of everyone, I hope we do more of that. I hope Church Home is a place, a safe place, a community where we can express to each other what we mean to each other and share more encouragement. I think we need that. But I got to tell you, the essence and premise of my message is not that today, because I think we're going to fail each other a lot. The premise of my message is that if Jesus experienced this, he knows what it feels like, and he is available to you today to assure you, comfort you, encourage you, and remind you how unique and valuable and important you are to him. It is not an accident you are alive in November 2024. You feel taken for granted? You feel overlooked? You feel like people are so familiar with you they can't recognize the talents and abilities and the beauty that you have to give to the planet? Jesus knows that feeling. And I believe he will meet you today. If you feel that way, you know what you need more of? Oh, I hope you get more recognition. I hope you get more greeting cards. I hope you get a spouse like I have. She's amazing. But we will fail each other. But there is one who always remains. And he knows what this feels like. And he can empathize. He can be there with you. He can comfort you. And he will never leave you nor forsake you. What you need more of is him, Jesus. I want to pray with you. Close your eyes with me if you feel comfortable, wherever you are, and I want to lead you in a guided prayer. With your eyes closed, hear these words. He loves you. He's here with you. He's available to you. He's present to you. He knows what you're experiencing. He is familiar with your pain. He has endured it himself. You are not alone. You're in the palm of his hand and in the middle of his plan. I hope you hear those words, because they're true. You might feel all alone, but you're not, because he's all around you. He chose you for this time. He chose your background, your family history, and your age, and the age in which you would be alive. So here we are together. You are no accident. God has a wonderful plan and opportunities for you just ahead. So stay here for a moment and soak in his love, which is enough for you. So God, I pray for all of my friends listening and watching this content. I pray that they would feel, even in a supernatural way that is beyond human understanding, they would feel in the depth of their soul that though they have been overlooked and taken for granted, many friends and family members and co-workers, you have never, not for a moment, overlooked them, taken them for granted, or forgotten how precious, valuable, and unique they are. Overwhelm us with that reality today. We thank you for it. Amen. Hey, thanks for participating. Thanks for watching this. I hope this leads to some great conversation, some coffee, and some good carbs. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.
It's been a minute, where do I begin? I've let the distance creep its way back in. I've offered love so inconsistently. Your heart is steady, you won't change on me. You're still worthy, you're still crowned in majesty, you're still perfect, you still bring me to my knees. You're still holy, you're still good beyond belief, King of glory, you're still everything, oh everything to me. Oh help me Jesus, stir your fire in me. Renew my faith when doubt is crippling. I'm open, ready, heart is on my sleeve. And I need your presence still crowned in majesty. You're still perfect.